Chocolate lines up planetarily with the sun. Chocolate is an octave of sun energy. Same octave as serotonin. It's on the same octave as the sun. It's on the same octave as a smile. It's on the same octave as gold. Those are all the same thing. They're just in a different metaphor. Cause of vitamin D imbalance, IC3, indole 3-carbinol. You guys want this? Yes. Remember? Here we go. Okay. Way in the back there. The estro block, because it breaks down all the bad estrogen, so it gets the dude out of the seat. Then you bring the Tonkat Ali in. Right? You get the dude out of the seat, then you bring the progesterone cream in. That's how you take your passion flower powder, and then you bring in your maca. Boom. So it bumps, and then you can get the dude right in there into the seat. Sure that Rudolf Steiner said is associated with the stars. Right? Deer like, cows like, ugh. Native Americans were deer eaters, not cow eaters. They had a completely different consciousness. Deer eaters have a different consciousness than a cow eater. A deer eater is actually more in the consciousness in the stars, in the heavens, more in the ethereal realms. A cow eater is like, we're here. Look at maca. That's what maca looks like. It's maca and it's San Pedro cactus. It's coca, it's maca, and it's San Pedro cactus, just to adapt to that. This is a critical support food, 100-meter elevation. It's pretty high up there. Goji berry. This is a critical support food for healthy hormones, healthy hormone production, healthy protein, forming the hormone, but it's not getting out of the gland. That's where ginseng comes in. Ginseng opens a little squeaky valve on the gland, and the hormone can get out. There's a little cap on your gland. It's got a little lid on it. But that can get rusty. And ginseng lubricates it and makes it go, so the ginseng can allow the hormone to get out, because you might be forming the hormone, but it doesn't get out. And dong quai grows wildly there. Angelica root. Very, very important herb. It looks a lot like so if you don't know what you're doing, be careful. It looks a lot like
that mushrooms are a kind of intelligence, like they're really advanced, like bacteria are really advanced consciousness, exceptionally advanced consciousness.
Cistanch in your pants. Now we're just going right to it. Okay, these are, okay. Let's see. Muirapama, cistanch. This is what you're going to get at the tonic bar. Marijuana, epimedium, horny goatweed. Oh, I gotta throw some of these out here. Okay, what do we got? Here's ginseng. You guys ready? Here, ginseng. And then over here, cistanch in your pants. Who's got that one? I want to see who got that one. Somebody. Okay, how about ginseng over here? Somebody over here. Over there, in the front row. Dive for it. These are modulators that help the whole process. Now that we got the fundamentals in, now we know the basics, now we can tweak it. And if we're really working with the teachings of the Kundalini and all that stuff and yoga, we want to bring that energy, that sexual energy, bring it up so we can activate genius. Activate genius. You guys ready to activate genius? Cuscuta seed is a great one. Synedium seed, these are all things. Tribulus, I mentioned earlier. Damiana, very important one. Again, another modulator. It's how you decorate all the things we've talked about so far and present it a little bit differently. And when you present it a little bit differently, then you might get that dude out of the seat and it's like, oh, got it. Musical chairs. And a couple more images. Colostrum is another very interesting one because it's a great source of growth factors. So one of those things I didn't slip in when we were talking about growth factors, chlorella and maca. Colostrum is another great source of growth factors. And then the last one, of course, chocolate's hormonal. It can help modulate your hormones. All right. In there, from studying the ancient techniques of making the cacao drink, I really got something from doing that. And it was like the alchemy of creating the perfect drink. And that smoothie is so filled with superfoods, is so charged, so powerful, that it actually will power you up indefinitely if you need it, causing you to feel good all the time. Here's the stress. People come in here, they put up some kind of front. I know what's going on at home. You start, it could be fruit juice, it could be orange juice. But generally, over the years, I've moved away from that. Actually, what I've done is now it's herbal tea. I'll make the most crazy concoction of 15 herbs, giant big thing, all spring water, get that going, totally this whole alchemical process going. That becomes the base. Blend cacao, honey into it, and all these alchemical ingredients. Zip that up. So we've got cacao in there. Why do we put cacao in there? The reason why is because everything tastes better with chocolate. And plus we're making a cacao smoothie, and that's why we do things with cacao. Okay, where's our powder? Now I'm picking this powder because this is the powder. That's the stuff. Now I like cayenne. The reason why I put cayenne in here, and this is super powerful. Cayenne with cacao is like heaven. Just those two together is heaven. Traditionally eaten for 5,000 years together. Now I put this in here. This is so critical. I don't even know how many years it took me to come up with this for myself. If I put enough cayenne in there, you make that thing so hot with cayenne pepper that you literally can't even handle it. You drink one sip and go, whoa. Now, we're going to get into the herbal components here. I like this goji berry powder because it's fierce. This is one of the best products going. This is full on. We got the herbal component going. Now we're going to get the maca. We got to get that in there. Maca is a root from the Andes Mountains. This is one of the best aphrodisiacs going. When you mix it with cacao, you really got something going on. Look at what we got. Now we got the chocolate alchemical element. Now here's the chocolate element. Here's what it means kind of in the Steiner sense or from the planetary sense. In fact, it's the energy of the center of the sun. It's a male energy that comes down off the sun. So if you don't know what you're doing, be careful. And it actually, out of all the plants, the cacao is right on line target of the center of the sun, which we call in our body the heart. And actually cacao is right up with the center of the sun, which is the center of the heart, which is called the sacred heart. So the cacao is hitting that frequency of the sacred heart. And it's an energy that comes from the sun. Now, in terms of planetary alchemy, what you want to use to balance off the cacao, because it's an alchemical process, you need something that's coming up with the earth force, or we call it the ormus, an energy that moves out of the earth towards the sun. That's ormus. Remember what I was telling you about? Like if you become loaded with ormus, all the cosmic energies come right into you because it wants to mate with you. Energy, substance, it comes from out of the earth. When you cut it open, you'll see it has a blue shimmer in there sometimes. Indicator of the ormus. Goji berry has the ormus in it. That's a little trick. It's in the polysaccharide. I don't know if maca does, but I suspect it does because it has that alchemical synergy. That stuff is so potent, it's just ridiculous. The herbal components that we like to put in there, like the medicinal mushrooms.
Example, if somebody's going to eat 30 bananas a day and do the natural hygiene diet, I know what's going to happen. I've been in this industry 17 years. I've seen it all.
Have that ormus force, an energy that uplifts and levitates. Mushroom spores have been found at every altitude of the earth, right up into the troposphere, right in the ionosphere, stratosphere, everywhere. Every single height has been found mushroom spores because they can levitate off the planet because they're surrounded by a shell of ormus, which actually is trying to get to the center of the sun. Occasionally, it gets slingshotted right off the center of the sun and gets propelled out into the atmosphere, into the solar system, and then eventually gets slingshotted out across the galaxy, like the way we do our satellites. And so mushrooms are, in fact, not from here. They're from somewhere else. They came here. They rode in on the cosmic wind. All right.
I want to say that mushrooms are a kind of intelligence beyond, like, they're really advanced, like bacteria are really advanced consciousness, exceptionally advanced consciousness.
In our categorization, we've got the base, we've got the cacao, sacred heart energy, we've got the herbs that balance off against the sacred heart energy, the ormus energy. We've got now the fat, which is coconut meat. We can also use cashews. Do we have any of our cashews here? Okay, great. We're going to throw a few cashews in there. And then we're going to go with a final little bit, which is a sweetener. I like Yukon root syrup because it's really got everything we want. It's sweet to the taste, but it doesn't cause candida, and it doesn't cause things like C, the C word, to get worse. You ever seen the C on the rock that supposedly was on the moon on that one picture and had a C on it? That's the kind of C we're talking about here.
What do you think about dates?
Dates? I've seen people get into trouble with dates. A lot of kinds. Meaning sugared out. You get like up and down, start flipping out. Master cleanser. You've got the cacao, sacred heart energy. We've got the herbs that balance because they're surrounded by a shell of ormus somewhere else. They came here. They rode in on the cosmic wind. All right. We are going to put, let's see, what else do we got here? Because it has a high herbal component, it goes little sugar as possible, as little sweet as possible, and go as bitter as possible, so you drink it slower. You've read about the master cleanser. You've read about these lies they're telling you that honey is whatever, blah, blah, blah. Honey is the highest spiritual food on the planet, period, end of story. Honey has the ormus in it, period, end of story. Honey is the most natural sweetener for us, period, end of story. By far, it's a joke. Now, if somebody's dealing with candida, the C word, and other kind of sugar stuff, you need to do the P cleansing. Getting those critters out, those little guys that are hanging on tight, and really get off the sugar for a while and experience what that's like. And then if you're going to have any sweetener, it's probably a good idea to have the best sweetener ever, and that is honey. That's, honey is it. Here we go. And man, I just reread the Master Cleanse. That whole thing, that whole section in that book on honey is...
Well, somebody's going to eat 30 bananas a day and do the natural hygiene diet. I know what's going to happen. I've been in this industry 17 years. I've seen it all.
To be, I just want to give you, I want you to give us a guideline of what you think is a good example of a healthy, balanced, raw food diet.
Encased in that super herb, superfood category is also the medicinal mushrooms. I think we do actually need things out of the mushroom kingdom. Have a little bit of raw, fresh goat's milk, just like a little sip, or a little bit of fresh, like colostrum. But superfood is a food that has for the buck than just broccoli. Source of calcium, it's I3C, Indo-3-carbinol, which is an anti-fiber. But goji berry, action of polysaccharides as part of its sugars. Saccharides are gelatin compounds that soften the digestive organs so that it's kind of like eating like a jello. It just softens things. It replenishes epithelial cells on the inside of our digestive tract. Goji berry is a complete protein source. That's a fact. It's one of the highest antioxidant foods in the world. It's in the top 6. Amazing source of zeaxanthin, which is an eye pigment. That's actually what gives goji berry its orange to red color. It's beta-carotene, like health. It has a huge amount of beta-carotene in it. It's the highest betaine-containing foods in the world. Some people may recognize it from the health food shops. Methylglycine or TMG methylator, so it draws off a lot of toxic compounds. Those things that the goji berry legend and traditional tonic Taoist herbalism, 5,000 years. It's a tonic. It's a longevity food. It's a superfood. I'll tell you something. I have a goji berry growing here. I didn't cut it down. I didn't get this year. It came back. Absolutely believe it. I'm looking at it going, wait, does that really do the power of a food, superfoods? Or they've got an order of magnitude of power above any food that we have normally had. They're nutritious in a number of different ways. An example.
But is that...
The goji berry, there is a goji berry that is native to the desert. Generally, the goji berries in North America, and there are millions of goji berries in bushes. I've made tinctures out of them. I have tins out of them. I've dried them. I've done next step is to get the Native Americans involved in our own Native American goji berry industry, goji berry, which is very extensive. I mean, Native American, North American goji berries than anybody in North America. Experience with it, now I know. I'm like, whoa, this is amazing.
But doesn't it make...
Well, we're out of the story of, it's too late. We've already had the superfood row and a super herb row. Asparagus, asparagus is one of the greatest raw foods there is. I have about asparagus. In fact, I could do a 3-hour lecture on asparagus. People should Google asparagus versus is what has the real. You dig it up after 3 years. So I got asparagus growing here in Ontario, and to concentrate. That's the kind of stuff to grow that really gives us a lot more bang. A leaf of lettuce. Your own asparagus was a wild asparagus. Because Will Gibbons, who wrote that famous book, Stalking the Wild Asparagus, wild lettuce, it could have been stalking the wild mustard asparagus. And that's why into it, it's out there, that we're really not from here. Partly, whether they call it angels, and apes, or whether they call it aliens or simians, that colloquial term, not from here, and that's why we don't kind of fit. It's obvious. What's right?
Just really annoying. It's like this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.